All right, guys. So, video number 3. This is going to be me covering live feeds. So, this is stuff that could end up leading into spoilers. So, here's your warning. This is a spoiler warning. This is stuff that has not aired on TV. This is the live feeds. So, back out of this video if you don't want something spoiled. All right. 3, 2, 1, and we're going into this. So let's start with last night. For the most part, it seemed like everybody's kind of getting along. Everybody's chilling. They get together and they're playing charades, and everybody's having a good time, and everybody's like interacting with each other, and everything, and they're having a grand old time. There was one spot where I noticed something. I don't know how many other people noticed something that were watching either Big Brother After Dark or the live feeds or whatever. But there was a point where Omarosa got up and she did her little charades thing, and somebody got it, and it was Brandy. She comes up and she starts to get ready to do hers, but they're doing shout outs each time they go up, and Omarosa didn't do a shout out. So people were like, hey, you should do your shout out. So she got back up to do her shout out, and Brandy was wanting to do her charades thing. And so she like slapped her butt a couple times, like to kind of shoo her out of the way. And Omarosa was walking away, and she either said, did she slap my butt or did you slap my butt? Either asking Brandy if she did or asking the people around, did she do that? And she got a yes from somebody, and she had the like most evil freaking look on her face. So this kind of in my mind, I'm like, yeah, Brandy's going to be a problem. I'm telling you. So everybody's kind of doing this, and then they finish with the charades. They make their way to the kitchen. I heard some people talking about dishes, and I noticed that Mark was all like, I did the dishes I did the dishes earlier, the day before, something to that effect." And so I think it was decided Meta was going to do the dishes, maybe, maybe not. So and some people were like, "Yeah, you did the dishes, and I wasn't talking about you doing dishes or whatever." So then people start making their way out onto the little tiny area with the chairs and the fire pit and the hot tub, that backyard area. And they're hanging out and they're chilling, and everybody's getting along and feeling the love and everything. And Mark gets up and grabs a cup. And if I heard everything right, I'm pretty sure he called Brandy a Fruit Loop dingus. Yeah. And this led into Brandy getting really upset. And it went into this whole thing about the dishes and Mark not doing the dishes or something. And she's just kind of going off and going off. And he threw a Fruit Loop at me. And Ross is telling her, Brandy, calm down. You're not in the right. You're not in the right. You're not in the right. I would have your back if you were in the right. Blah, and everything. So Mark walks away and goes inside. A little bit later, Brandy's like, I'm gonna stands up, and somebody asks her, hey, where are you going? And she's all like, or are you going inside? And she's like, no, I'm going to stay right here. Of course I'm going inside. I'm just kind of like, okay, she's so not cool. And so and somebody's like, leave Mark alone, don't bring up the dishes when she's going inside. She goes inside, and Mark and Meta are there, and she starts talking to Meta about Mark. Mark walks away, and she's still going on about Mark, and she brings up the something about the dishes or something, and him being an angry housekeeper or something. And Meta looks at her and is like, hey, Mark does a great job cleaning around here and blah, 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 and kind of defends Mark. So we have two different people defending Mark, which just makes me think that Brandy is like crazy, and obviously drunk. And she's getting yet another bottle of champagne, and she's having, and then so she goes back out with the bottle of champagne for everybody, but mainly for her. And then everybody's having a good time again. Everything seems to be fine. Mark even comes back out, and it seems to be fine. And then all of a sudden, she starts going off on Chuck Liddell, talking about how that Chuck and James want her out of the house and this and that. And Mark's like, hey, that's a pretty big claim to be making. Who told you that? And she's like, well, you're not a part of this conversation. And he's like, well, you opened it up in front of all of us. And people agreed. And so she's like, well, Shannon told me that Chuck and James came to her about putting me on the block. Yeah, she just blew up Shannon's game and kind of planted seeds, I would think, that people are going to start looking at an all-woman alliance. So we have that going on. And so now Shannon and some people were over at the laundries. Doing laundry right over here. Like here's this, and this conversation is like over here. I don't know how they wouldn't have heard the conversation, but somebody goes over there and tells her what she said, and she's like, "Oh, great! I'm going home next week." And kind of going into a little bit of a spiral, small spiral. And she's like really upset, and Keisha's all like, hey, maybe we shouldn't have alcohol in the house anymore. And so the party breaks up, and they pull, the women kind of pull Brandy out of the situation. And so it leaves my Mark and James, I think, talking. And they're talking. Next thing you know, here comes Keisha. And wanting to let them know that this has nothing to do, that this is just Brandy being drunk. And that she doesn't want this to reflect on everybody else and blah, 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 and all this. And pretty much, trying to cover up and BS. And then, lo and behold, here comes Shannon a little bit later doing a lot of the same thing. So I'm like, man, they should change this from Big Brother Celebrity Edition to Big Brother How stupid do you think the men are? Because with the amount of damage control that they put into this, I know I would be like, something's going on here, guys. And maybe we want to look at the women. So, fast forward this morning, Brandy apologizes to Mark. Mark accepts her apology. She claims she doesn't remember anything from last night. He's like, well, maybe you should apologize to James and Chuck and whatnot. So that's pretty much where everything kind of ends. They're going to make a pizza. They're being locked up into the bedroom for something. So I'm thinking maybe this is either Vito. I'm thinking this may be the Vito play. So there you have it. That pretty much covers the important stuff from the live feeds. So, at least that I saw. So, there you have it. Peace. I'm out of here.